Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome to Thailand again.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is 20 years. I bring you here from the October tour, 2006.
I remember. I think there's a clip from that show on the Chaos in Motion DVD. What are the name of that home video we put out on that tour? But I think there's a song from Bangkok from that show.
Yeah.
On there.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta talk about your latest album. Yeah, Parasomnia. The normal question: you just come back reunion to the Dream Theater, and how different when you join the band again?
How is it different? How is it the same?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same in a lot of ways. Where it feels so natural. It feels like I was never gone, to be honest.
Oh. Okay.
It immediately felt like coming back home again to family. And I guess the difference is that we're just older and therefore wiser and a little more mellow. I know I am. I know when I left the band in 2010, I was very much a control freak. But, through time, and through all the years away and all the different things I had been a part of and all the things that Dream Theater did without me, I think we all kind of grew older and wiser. So it's actually the best dynamic of the band ever, because when I left, like I said, I was very controlling about everything, whereas now there's more of a band feeling, more of sharing responsibilities and making decisions together that maybe weren't made together back my first time around. So it's really a great dynamic, and we're all so happy to be back together again.
Oh, yeah. Can I ask you this main lesson, when you left the band on the 2010, is you control a lot in the band?
Was that the main reason?
Yeah.
It really isn't as simple as that. There's a lot of reasons, and it's been covered to death. I mean, there's been hundreds of interviews talking about it. So I'd rather not talk about the sad times from 2010. I'd rather talk about the happy times from 2026.
Okay, can you talk about the theme of the latest album?
Well, it's not a traditional concept album like the way that Scenes from a Memory was, but it is a concept album, like thematically, the way like maybe Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is, where it's themes that are in common and songs that interconnect. Like we have a lot of melodies and musical themes and passages that reoccur throughout the album, so the whole album ties together from start to finish. It's my favorite way of writing. I've done a lot of concept albums in my career within and outside of Dream Theater. So to me, it's a very comfortable way of writing. You're looking more at the bigger picture of the whole album rather than individual songs, which to me is a more satisfying experience, like watching a movie or making a movie. And in America, we started doing Parasomnia from start to finish. We'll do a big chunk of it here in Bangkok. We won't do the whole thing because we want to make up for lost time with all of the albums, but we will play a nice chunk of it here in Bangkok.
Okay. On the one song, Midnight Messiah, yeah. You composed that?
Yeah, I wrote the lyrics to that one. Originally, I wasn't even planning on resuming writing lyrics in the band, because all the years I was out of the band, I only wrote a few sets of lyrics. I wrote one for the Winery Dogs and one for Metal Allegiance. But for the most part, I haven't written many lyrics outside of Dream Theater. So coming back into the band, I assumed I just wouldn't write any. But they really persuaded me. They wanted me to, because, back my first time in the band, I did write a lot of lyrics, a lot of them. So I guess it is a big part of the band's history, and they twisted my arm to pick up the pen again. So Midnight Messiah was, I guess, my return to lyrics.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and the song Night Terror is really complicated.
Night Terror is the first song we wrote when we came together. So that's the very first thing that came out of us, coming back together almost 15 years later. And that's why we knew we wanted it to be the first single and video for people to hear, to really get a taste of that first excitement back together again.
That's called, this song is very Dream Theater 2026.
Yeah, for
sure. Okay, you're gonna play
Of
tomorrow?
course.
Oh yeah.
It's actually one of the only songs that's been played at every single show for the past year and a half. It's the most played song that we've played since this tour began back in 2024. So yeah.
And the end of the album, the song is 20 minutes. The Shadow Man incident. How you decide the part, the section?
Writing long songs is very, very natural for us. We've been doing it.
Octavarium or something. Yeah.
Octavarium, A Change of Seasons, The Count of Tuscany, In the Presence of Enemies. I mean, you could look at our whole catalog. There's always these big 20-minute epics. So it's a very natural way for us to write. In fact, for us, it's easier to write a long song than it is to write a short song.
Okay.
That's
Easier.
hard for us.
Easier.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you have a long song, anything goes. You don't have to follow a traditional formula or arrangement. A song that maybe is going to be a single, you need it to be a little more concise. But when you're writing a song that you know is going to be an epic, it can go anywhere musically and thematically. So all rules are off and anything goes. So for us, it's a fun way of writing. But yeah, this new album, The Shadow Man Incident, is the big epic on the album. And we play that live as well, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And this album, I heard about your signature riff on drum fill.
I am who I am. I can't be anybody else but Mike Portnoy. That's who I am, and that's who I've always been. So I play the way I play. So yeah, I know like a lot of people when they first heard Night Terror, it's like, oh my God, it sounds like there's Mike Portnoy back in the band. It sounds like him. Of course, it sounds like me because it is me.
Okay. Can you tell me what is your signature?
I mean, I would say my thing is playing progressive music. At times that could be very technical with a lot of odd time signatures and things like that. I'm very, very comfortable with that. But I would say my signature is bringing a real heavy metal energy to progressive drumming.
Wow.
I think like when Dream Theater first broke in the early 90s, that was the thing that set us apart. You had prog bands like Yes and Marillion, but they weren't very heavy. And then you had heavy bands like Metallica and Slayer, but they weren't very progressive. We were putting the two together, and even if you listen to the very first song on Dream Theater's very first album, A Fortune in Lies, I'm coming out right away with the fast double bass drumming. So that's always been a part of my signature. So I think my signature is kind of combining the prog elements and the metal elements.
Okay. One question. And right now you 58?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is affect when you play the long show on a tour 2 years?
I mean, we still do it. We're playing 3-hour shows every night. We do an evening with Dream Theater, no opening bands. We play 2 sets and an intermission, and it's a long night. And for us, getting older, it gets more and more challenging. When Rush was on their 40th anniversary tour, that was their farewell tour because they couldn't do it physically anymore. So, we realized that at our age, it starts to get harder and harder. So we try to be aware of the scheduling, try to always have a day off between shows if possible. I write the set list, so I try to make sure it's paced in a way that there's breathers, ups and downs and things like that. But yeah, it's not easy as we get older. I mean, I just came from getting a massage because my body is just always aching. I come off stage limping like I had just been in a war. But this is our job, so I can't complain about it, and luckily we could still do it. I think it's very hard for James Labrie. James is he's 62 or 63, I think, at this point, and especially for a singer and for a drummer, it's both. Your body is such an important part of your instrument, so it's hard. But we try to be as careful as we can.
And how you get in shape? I mean, when you play, it's really strong, and you exercise.
It's different people do different things. Some exercise more than others. Diet is important as well. But honestly, I'd be hypocritical if I was to start like trying to give lessons about how to stay in good shape because I'm the worst. I eat bad. I sleep all day. I mean, I'm horrible. So I'm nobody to give advice. But somehow I'm still hanging in there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Do it.
Yeah.
And for now, when you compose a song, what you gonna do? You just jam together, or you have some more idea for yourself, programming, looping?
How do we write? Is
yeah,
that what you mean?
For this album.
For this album, well, honestly, the writing process for Parasomnia was the same as the writing process for our very first album 36 years ago. I mean, the process is the same.
Okay.
We've changed, we've matured. I think we've gotten better at songwriting. We've gotten more mature musicians, I think. So I think we've evolved, but the process is exactly the same, which is we start instrumentally. We start with just the four of us throwing ideas around, on drums, guitar, bass, and keyboards. And, whatever comes out on the floor, we'll all look at it and work on it and expand upon it and develop it, work together on the arrangements, putting it together. And then once the music is done, then we'll start working on the vocal melodies. And then at that point, we'll distribute who's going to write which lyrics to which song. And that's when James, gets very involved with the melodies and the lyrics and the singing and everything. And that's always been the process. I mean, if you look at When Dream and Day Unite from 1980, we recorded it in 1988. It's the same exact process as making Parasomnia.
Yeah, and today have some more technologies. It's like an AI. Did you get some idea from?
Oh, no. It's all completely organic, and that's very important to us. Jordan Rudess is very into the technology and AI experimentation, but on a personal level, it hasn't come into the band. I don't think it will ever come into the band. I think we're all so serious enough as it is about our own instruments and our own writing and composition that that's something that's sacred to just being us and has to be fully organic.
Have you ever lost in the very complex section when you played 7/8?
Sure. Yeah, well, 7/8's easy. It's the other 1916 and 21/16. That's when it starts to get a little more complicated, and 13/8. But yeah, I mean, sometimes we get lost. It happens. We're human beings, and I like the fact that we're human beings.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to make a mistake. I think it shows that that it's not on tracks or it's not playing to a click. For me, it's very important to not play to a click. That was something that I needed to establish when I came back to the band, because I never used to do it, and I still don't want to do it. The years that I was away, I know Dream Theater did. So one of the important things for me was to have the human element. I would rather make a mistake and be real than be perfect and boring and a machine, So it was important for me, for us to be real. And every once in a while, somebody makes a mistake, and that's okay. I think that's what makes music, real.
Yeah, but on the very hard section, 11, 16 or something, when you lost, how you get back?
It's for me, I think it's easier without a click track. In fact, I heard the guys talk about it, because they would say when they were playing with a click track with Mike Mangini, if there was ever a mistake, it was hard because you were tied to you couldn't fluctuate. You couldn't make it work. So I personally think it's easier without any program things, because you're human and they adapt. And at the end of the day, I'm the conductor. The drummer is the conductor in the band, and I'm the one that's setting the tempos and hitting the cues and playing the retards at the end of the songs. Everybody's following me and watching me, including our light man and our laser person and our video people. They're all tied in with what I'm doing. I have an electronic pad behind the kit that I cue everybody. Only we can hear it in our ears. So I'll cue everybody. And if ever anything falls off the track, me as the drummer and the conductor, I have to get everybody's attention with the cowbell and bring us back together.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't happen that often, but it's a good little trick to have.
Yeah, okay. And right now, I heard in your music, you play a lot, complex, but you have more space. Yeah, how you control, balance everything to be the perfect song?
I can't speak for the Dream Theater albums I wasn't a part of. So I could only speak about 11 or 12 albums or whatever that I've been a part of. And for those albums, the albums that I was on, it was always important to have the balance. I think there's three major elements to the band. There's obviously the progressive side, there's the metal side, and then there's the melodic side. We love, just as much as we love Rush or Metallica, we also love Journey. We want to have those elements as well. And I think that's what maybe sets Dream Theater apart from a lot of other progressive metal bands. It's a very melodic band, and having the space, moments of space to breathe is very important. And a lot of people that don't really know every song of Dream Theater, they just look at us like machines. But I think if you really listen to any of our albums, we always had songs like The Spirit Carries On or Another Day, or this new album is a song called Bend the Clock. And that's always been an important element as well to us.
Okay. And which song in this album you like the most?
Well, I guess I really feel a very special attachment to Night Terror, just because it was the first thing we wrote coming back together again. So it really kind of marked the reunion right there. Like here's the first thing we wrote. And it just sounds like classic Dream Theater. The minute you hear that song and you hear the power chords coming in, you could see the lights coming up live on stage and feel the audience excitement. And then I come in with the big drum fill. I mean, as soon as we wrote it, we just knew this is classic Dream Theater. And, it obviously was incredibly well received, not only by the fans, but it also was nominated for a Grammy, which was incredible. Yeah. So I think it really sums everything up in one song, if I had to pick one.
Okay, yeah. And any new in your drum set? Your idea new, your drum tuning, your clash?
The kit that I've been using on this entire 40th anniversary tour, I have two of them. So, like for instance, the kit that I just played in Australia at the last show is now being sent over to Korea.
Okay.
And then I'll have my second kit here in Bangkok, and then that will go back home. I basically have two drum kits that hopscotch each other, and it's a massive drum kit. And anybody that's been following what we've been doing on the road for the last year and a half, you've seen it. But for the Thai fans to see it in person tomorrow night, it's exciting just to see it up there. I think it's a bigger star than I am. I think it gets a bigger applause than I do. When the reveal, the curtain comes down and there it is.
Any new tuning?
No tuning. I have, it's a double kit. So there's a double bass side and then a single bass side. The single bass side, I have some concert toms, 6, 8, and 10 concert toms. So it's a little bit more of a untraditional setup. The double bass side is, kind of what I've always had on that side of the kit with 4 octobans. But my sounds are what they are. I've worked with the same drum tech for over 30 years.
That's same.
He's been with me since the Images and Words tour. So, he knows everything about my kit. Is better than I do, actually.
Okay. Can you play the concert without your kit?
Yeah, I could. I mean, all those years away from Dream Theater, I played different sized kits. With the Winery Dogs, I had a little 4-piece drum kit, and bands like Flying Colors or Transatlantic was a single bass kit. Then with bands like Avenged Sevenfold or Twisted Sister or Metal Allegiance, I played the big double bass kit. So I'm used to different kits for different situations and being able to adapt from one to the next. But with Dream Theater, I knew coming back to the band, I had to have a massive double kit because that was always kind of my thing with Dream Theater. So it's fun having that again.
Yeah. Okay. Any advice for the new drummer to want to be my Portnoy?
If the question is advice for the young drummer that wants to be Mike Portnoy, don't.
Don't do that.
I mean, a lot of young drummers may hear music by a band like Dream Theater and immediately want to start playing that, but you need to learn to walk before you can run. When I was a kid, I started off by learning the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and the Who before I started playing Rush and King Crimson and Yes and stuff like that. And then later on came all the metal bands that with the fast double bass drumming. But you can't do that kind of stuff without learning the basics first. So I would say don't start with Dream Theater, start with AC/DC. and work your way up to Dream Theater.
Okay. Yeah. Last two questions. Yeah.
Okay.
If you look back at my Portnoy at 20, on that time at your 20 age.
In my 20s, yeah.
Yeah, in your 20. On that time, you think you're gonna be the big drummer in the world?
No. I mean, when we started this band 40 years ago, 41 years ago now, we were just three teenagers from Long Island, that just playing together at college and wanted to just play Iron Maiden songs and Rush songs.
Okay.
We never had this expectation of succeeding to the level that we have. When it all started happening for us, it was just such a great, pleasant surprise. But never in my wildest dreams would I have pictured being on the cover of Modern Drummer like 5 times, or I have like 33 Modern Drummer awards or something like that at this point. Even when I just won the first one, we could have stopped right there, and I would have been, blown away. So I guess it's just proof that if you really follow your heart, no matter what you do, whether you be a musician or an athlete or whatever, or an artist, if you believe in yourself and you persevere and don't give up, no matter how hard it gets, because we've had hard times. This didn't happen overnight. It took 41 years and a lot of, perseverance. So, I think if you stick to it long enough and put your heart and soul into it, you will succeed.
Wow. Okay. The last question.
Yep.
Yeah. Any motto, philosophy do you use for yourself?
Well, I have it tattooed right here, Carpe Diem.
Okay.
I wrote about it in the song A Change of Seasons. I wrote the lyrics to A Change of Seasons back in 1989, so 37 years ago. Okay. But even to this day, it's a saying that I live by, and it means seize the day. It means appreciate what you have when you have it, because you never know, it could be gone like that. I woke up this morning to a phone call that my aunt passed away. And just today, and it's moments like that make you realize how fragile life is. And this whole tour, I lost my sister, I lost my stepfather, I lost my dog, who I loved more than life. And it makes you realize that time is fleeting. So carpe diem, seize the day. Appreciate the people that you have in your life while you have them, because it could change at any moment. So that's why I have it tattooed on here, so I hopefully always keep that in mind and always remember it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Thank you very much.
All right. My pleasure.